My mother was a prostitute. My father was a pimp. I bet I got your attention now. Quick question. It's kind of an oxymoron, but why did I share the information that I shared? This is what I want to focus on. In the previous video, why did I share with you information that could be embarrassing to myself, could be embarrassing to my mother, embarrassing to my father, embarrassing to my siblings? Why did I share that information? And what information was it that I actually shared? What was the purpose behind it? The information I shared was my childhood, number one. I'm going to break this down in three. So number one, I shared my childhood and the things that had happened to me. Number two, I shared with you my environment. That's what I talked about. And then number three, I shared with you my sin, things that I did wrong, right? Now, what was the purpose of me sharing these three things? Number one, sharing my childhood and the things that happened to me. It was to say that it doesn't matter what has happened to you. God can and God will. He's totally willing to provide for you healing, deliverance, and redemption. It is what it is. And that's where I'm saying again, it doesn't matter what you have been through. It doesn't matter what has happened to you. God can provide for you healing, deliverance, and redemption. Now, when you think of the word redemption, what do you think about? I'm going to let you know what I think about when I wrap my mind around redemption, and I'm living it now. When I wrap my mind around redemption, it's like God doesn't just save you. He makes you prosper. When you look at the Israelites, when God delivered them, he not only delivered them out of slavery, they left being rich. They left with all the gold and all the finances of Egypt on their backs. That's how they left. And so when God blesses you, in other words, you're not just a survivor, you're a victor. You're not just a survivor, you are victorious. You're not somebody who barely made it and you barely got your head above water. No, you're somebody who's walking on water. That's what this is about. God, when God does something, he does more for his children. To him who's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ever dare to ask, think, or imagine. That's what God does for his children. Hallelujah. And so when I spoke about, healing, deliverance, redemption, that's what that is. It doesn't matter what has happened to you. It doesn't matter, what you've been through. God can provide healing, and God can restore you, and God can redeem you, making you go above and beyond with your wildest dreams. That's who God is. He said he came to give life and give life more abundance. The second thing I spoke about was my environment. Now, when I broke down my environment, I shared with you things about the fact that my mother was a prostitute. This was my environment. My father was a pimp. Over the course of their relationship, over the course of their 16-year marriage, my father had broken both of her arms. He had broken both of her legs. He had broken several of her ribs. He once put her face through a wall, and he once hung her out of a window. I'm talking about abuse. And some of that abuse was in that previous video that I talked about, and it was very emotional for myself, and it was real. And so then to go back to my environment, I spoke about having murderers in my immediate family, and that being my environment. Now, I shared with you my environment, and what was the purpose behind me sharing that environment? To tell you that it doesn't matter what your environment was. It doesn't matter how limited your environment was, that God can and will still bless you. He can, and all things are possible with God. And that it doesn't matter where you've come from. It doesn't matter your environment. It doesn't matter how limited your environment was. God can still change your life and make the most of your life. And I'm living this now. I'm living this right now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and share with someone who you think may either be able to relate to the video and or get something out of it. Click the link to the right for the full video. Stay blessed, and remember, no excuses.